Have a look at this. A woman lost 850 grand to scammers who were posing as Brad Pitt. Ouch. So this French woman named Anne actually believed that she was in a romantic relationship with Brad Pitt. So she divorced her husband, took a settlement, and with that money, she transferred 850 grand over to these scammers. So apparently the scammers were using social media accounts, including WhatsApp and other accounts, and they were creating false AI images, sending them over to Anne, pretending to be Brad Pitt, and apparently even saying, "Oh, can you send me money? I need money for a kidney transplant." You've probably seen and heard this sort of crazy stuff happening a lot. I've seen it often. There's a bunch of TV shows that highlight some of these cases. And I often think, what the hell? Who the hell falls for this sort of stuff? I saw a show recently where a woman thought she was in love with Elon Musk and he was in love with her. And apparently he needed her to send him some money as well, which is crazy when you think about it, because it's like, the dude's the world's richest person. Why the hell would he need money? Same as Brad Pitt. Why the hell does he need money? But apparently he said, Brad, to Anne, that his money's tied up in some legal proceedings because he's going through some divorce settlement with Angelina Jolie, and so his bank account's been frozen. So usual story, "Oh, send me the money, love, and when I get it all sorted, I'll give it straight back to you, and then some, with interest." And she obviously fell for that, and that's really quite sad. But the thing that gets me is this. Anne is a 53-year-old interior decorator with mental health problems. Apparently she had been suffering with severe depression and even received hospital treatment. Now, I don't know if that was before or after she got swindled for 850 grand, but it does say she had mental health problems. So the first thing that comes to mind when I see that is, if she's got mental health problems, should she be left to be making these crazy financial decisions? If her husband and her separated and divorced, because of this scam? Because it says here, she fell in love with who she believed to be the real Brad Pitt. That's what led to the divorce. So the husband's kind of like, yeah, fine, you want to be with him, you go ahead, let's divorce. Here's your 850 grand, or whatever the settlement was. And this is similar to the story that I saw with the woman that fell for Elon Musk. The husband basically stood by, watched it happen, allowed it to happen, and did nothing. So if the husband's saying, fine, if you're crazy enough to believe that you're having a relationship with the real Brad Pitt, let's divorce, take your money, send it over to him, well, that's ridiculous. Or was he literally sitting back and rubbing his hands, thinking, we're going to divorce, particularly because she thinks she's in love with somebody else, I want nothing more to do with her. Do you think he's sitting back rubbing his hands, watching this unfold, thinking, well, this will serve her right? She's going to take everything, every last cent that she's got for the rest of her life, and give it away to some overseas scammers. And I'm going to sit back and watch it happen, and I'm going to laugh at her. Is that what happened? Who knows? The bottom line is, if this woman is saying she has mental issues, maybe she shouldn't have been left to make such big financial decisions. And who the hell sends $850,000 to somebody they've never met? Particularly in this day and age, knowing that scammers are just a dime a dozen, they're everywhere. We've got to be so vigilant and so careful. I don't know about you, but I find it difficult to accept and understand how in this day and age people are still falling for these massive scams. Surely she would have had friends and family warning her, and don't be ridiculous, this is not the real Brad Pitt. Have a look at the photos, it doesn't even look like Brad Pitt. You've not spoken to him in person, you've not spoken to him on the phone, you've not met up with him, and Brad Pitt doesn't need money. He doesn't need handouts. Even if it were true, and he was waiting for a divorce settlement from Angelina, I'm sure the dude has connections and access to other money from other people. Here's the crazy part. Apparently, the whole relationship started because Anne was approached by someone claiming to be Brad Pitt's mother, telling Anne that, oh, you'd be perfect for my son. My son needs someone exactly like you. Right. Okay. So supposedly Brad Pitt's mother is going around scouring the internet, looking at profile pictures, 53-year-old women, thinking, you'd be perfect for my 61-year-old son, Brad. And I'm going to set you two up because, Brad's not very good, on the dating scene. I'll step in and give him a helping hand here. Even Anne said, you know, at first I said to myself, this must be fake. You think? This is ridiculous. You think? But I'm not used to social media and I didn't really understand what was happening to me. So even in the beginning, she had her concerns, thinking, this is weird. Why would Brad Pitt's mum be reaching out to me saying that you're such a wonderful woman, you'd be perfect for my son? She's thinking, this is weird. Maybe it's fake. Seems a bit ridiculous. How did she go from that to suddenly sending $850,000 to this guy or this scammer? And my guess is it didn't happen all in one hit. It generally never does. Nobody's going to say, oh, can you send me 850 grand? It'll be $500 here, $1,000 there, 10 grand, 50, 100, whatever. So she would have been sending all this money in increments, and after spending $850,000, apparently she only realized that she'd been scammed when she was watching the news and she sees Brad Pitt in real life in a relationship with his girlfriend, Ines de Ramon. So she's sitting there watching the news thinking, oh, you know, me and Brad are going to be together soon. Going to be such a wonderful relationship. His mum really likes me. I've sent him all this money. He's going to pay it all back to me, obviously. As soon as he goes through this settlement with the ex-wife, Angelina. But she's sitting there watching the news and there's, oh, Brad Pitt, and he's in this happy relationship with this girlfriend, Ines de Ramon. It's only then that she's thinking, oh, what's wrong with this picture? I thought we were meant to be together. Whew. What do you make of this one? Should someone be held accountable for this? Obviously the scammers, but even outside of the scammers, her friends and family would have known about this. The ex-husband would have known about this. If she has mental health problems, then she's been diagnosed by somebody. If she's been admitted to hospital, she's probably had mental health care workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, GPs. Surely the conversation came up with one of them that she's in a relationship with Brad Pitt. Should they have a duty of care to step in? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.